All right. So last question of CIE2 had two parts again, and those are actually very nice questions, even for final exam. I could not prepare the last one, but the second last one I have prepared already. We will discuss that right now. And after that, we will go back to our earlier discussions for questions which we have already practiced from the beginning, where before CIU2 a lot of questions we did. I want to touch upon those just in case, because very nice 5 marks question or 2 marks question can be from those also. Last question, which is the part B. This is the question, if you notice, Mr. Gray. I have not prepared it yet. You can try it by yourself. If possible, tomorrow we can discuss this, if possible. Otherwise, it's okay. We have already covered very good portion. And similar to the earlier one, we will bring in some theory discussions also in between. Whatever I feel to be important, I'm bringing out those. Please do look at those theory questions. It will be very helpful, because in case a question, numerical question is there, which is a little difficult for you, you can always go for the theory questions, because I'm pretty sure he'll be giving those as options. All right. Quickly moving to this question. The question is a little big, so bear with me. Ms. Himansu, a registered supplier of chemicals, pays GST under regular scheme. He is not eligible for any threshold exemption. Ignore this, not important, not even in our course. He has made the following outward taxable supplies for the month of September 2021. Intrastate supply of goods, that means CGST and SGST liability will be there because of this, 25 lakhs. Interstate supply of goods, that means there will be IGST on this particular supply, out IGST liability. He also made the following inward supplies. Now the information is given for the input tax credits. Now, intrastate purchase of goods from registered dealer. Here is a trick, something related to registered dealer. This is fine. When the exception comes, I'll bring that to your notice. Registered dealer 14 lakhs. So as the question itself says intrastate, that means the CGST and SGST credit will be available on this. Intrastate purchase of goods from unregistered dealer 2 lakhs. Tell me, will the credit be available on this? It's my question paper. I have already put a cross mark there. Ignore that. Just try to remember. Basically, unregistered dealer, from unregistered dealer, if you are purchasing something, on that credit will not be available. Reason being, they are not paying the tax only in the first place. Understood, right? Very clear, very easy to relate also. Okay. Yes. So the last one says interstate purchase of goods from registered dealer. So the first two were intrastate. The last one interstate. There is one additional information related to this. When we reach there, I'll bring back your attention to that. To here. Okay. Balance of input tax credit at the beginning of September 2021 are given as follows. CGST, SGST, and IGST values are given. So we will be considering this for the calculation of input tax, so final tax liability. Additional information is provided. Let's read through. He purchased a car intrastate supply used for business purpose at the price of 6,72,000, including CGST of 36,000 and SGST of 36,000 on 15th September 2021. He capitalized the full value, including the GST, in the books on the same date to claim depreciation. What do you think? What do you think the implication of this? Should this CGST and SGST be available as a credit to him? Just guess. It's okay, because we have not discussed anything as such in the classroom. So it's obviously something brand new for us. So let's try and guess what should happen. So I mean, try to imagine for your business, when you purchase one asset like a car, which is a long-term asset. Do you think GST for that will be available as a credit?
Yes, it will be available.
No, Vinay. I mean, we can go behind the logic.
Okay, for the use of business purpose, right?
Yes.
Okay, then it won't be considered.
Yes, yes. So because logic can be many reasons I can give. Forget about the logic. You can just simply remember on an asset, especially long-term assets like this, when the GST is paid, that is actually not available as the credit, rather it is capitalized, which is the hint is given in the second sentence. He capitalized the full value including the GST. What does that mean? He has actually recorded that as a cost of the asset altogether, which is supposed to happen to claim depreciation. Can you see that? So on the GST he has added and he has claimed the depreciation. I'll remind you one example when we were doing semester 1 accounting, when the depreciation used to be there. Suppose some building purchased, stamp duty on the building paid, or the tax on the building paid, tax on the transaction paid. Those taxes are actually included in the price of building to calculate the depreciation. This is what it is again implying to the same thing. So when you have GST on a capital asset, there the GST will not be available as input tax credit, rather it will be capitalized in the books for the purpose of depreciation. Clear? No effect in our question. Basically, what does that mean? No effect in our question. You don't even have to look at these numbers. Ignore it. Understood? Any questions, please? Okay. Second bullet point. Out of interstate purchase from registered dealer, goods worth 1 lakh were received on 3rd October 2021 due to road traffic jams. Can anybody, we have discussed this in the classroom, sir has told a very nice logic to it. Can somebody remember what it is actually implying to?
Yeah, I mean, any kind of goods which has not been delivered,
Yes.
Cannot be claimed for IT.
Yes, credit cannot be claimed for that. He told the reason, if you remember, that if this rule is not there, there is a big loophole in the law. Everybody will say we have purchased such and such value of goods and we have not received it. And creating bills is not really big deal for everybody, right? So everybody will then claim a lot of credits just saying that our goods will be coming in the next month, which is why they have actually included this law where if the goods are not received yet, credit is not available for it. That means the one that we have here, interstate purchase of goods from registered dealer, which was given as 4 lakhs, it becomes how much now? Revised value?
Minus 1 lakh.
Minus
So
1
it will
lakh.
become.
That becomes 3 lakhs. Yes, that is correct. Okay, we have read through the question thoroughly. Wherever necessary, we got the understanding of what the treatment will be. Rates are provided then 9%, 9%, 8%. Both inward and outward suppliers given our, forget it, not important. Compute the net CGST, SGST, IGST payable in cash by Mr. Himanshu. Let's go through the solution also. First of all, on 25 lakhs of intrastate supply of goods, 9%, yeah, CGST, SGST, which comes to 2,25,000, 2,25,000. This is the liability. Yes, interstate supply of goods, similarly 5 lakhs, 18% rate because it is interstate. That means the IGST will be applicable, which comes to 90,000. So we now know CGST liability, SGST liability are 2,25,000 each, and IGST liability is 90,000. Yes, no questions there. Very easy. Okay. Now, quickly moving to the credit part. Let's calculate the credits that are coming from the purchases during the period. First one, 14 lakhs. It is intrastate. Therefore, it will be CGST 9% at SGST, 9% of 14 lakhs comes to 1,26,000, 1,26,000 each. Now, 2 lakhs, as we have already discussed, as it is purchased from the unregistered dealer, so the credit will not be available on this. So you can put a note, a separate note at the end of the question and give this information. Please do write it. Don't just ignore it and leave it as it is. Because once you write it, there is a 2 mark on that note itself, for sure. Now, finally, interstate purchase of goods from registered dealer, as we already know, 1 lakh has to be deducted from this. So 3 lakhs balance amount. On that 18%, why? Because it is IGST, as it is an interstate purchase, comes to 54,000. Now we know now CGST, SGST credit we have with us 1,26,000 each, and the IGST credit we have of 54,000. Now, finally, going to our input tax credit that we had beginning of the month. Let's add these credits that we got during the month with the beginning balance. I have already done that. 95,000, 60,000 and 50,000 were given in the question. Now we have got 1,26,000, 1,26,000 and 54. The final balance comes to 2,21,000, 1,86,000, 104. Any questions as of now? Okay, fair enough. Quickly going to the calculation of final liability. So we have the liability in hand, 2,25,000, 2,25,000 and 90. I have written that here. Then we have the final balance of the credit here, 2,21,000, 1,86,000 and 104. 104, let's talk about that. Now 2,21,000 is less than 2,25,000, so whole amount gets actually knocked off against CGST. Similarly, 1,86,000 is less than 2,25,000, so whole amount gets knocked off against the SGST liability. However, IGST liability was 90,000. Credit available is 104,000. That means only 90,000 is required to knock off. Is it not? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Balance, what do we do?
Balance.
Knocked off again.
Balance, against? I think, do you have to distribute with CGST?
Yes, we have. Yeah. Yes, we have.
First CGST and then SGST.
Yes, I was about to ask that only. First CGST, then SGST. So CGST only balance required is 4,000. So whole 4,000 goes there. The balance 10,000 is utilized against SGST. So when we do the calculation, the final net liability, net GST liability is 29,000, and the whole 29,000 is SGST liability. Any questions, please? No, right? Perfect. Now, the whole question was similar to one of the questions we have done before. The only difference was these two bullet points, those are provided. If we understand these two, then we know the trick to the question. Now, quickly, let me create one version of the question so that you can practice. So let's suppose this is 30 lakhs. Let's say this is 8 lakhs. I'm making this one as say 18 lakhs. This one I'm making 5 lakhs. This one I'm making suppose say 6 lakhs. Beginning balance, this was 1 lakh. This was 75,000. This was 65,000. This side we can make anything. So I'd say suppose 12 lakhs. On that, say 1 lakh 20 and 1 lakh 20. And the interstate supply that was for which the goods were not received, say suppose 2,50,000. Rates, let me change it to 6612. I'll do one thing. Are you guys ready with everything? Can you practice it now? Otherwise, you can practice later, not a problem. I'll share the solution either way.
Yeah, we can do now also. No problem.
You can do. Anessa, are you ready with it? Okay, I don't think she's there. So when better, actually, I'll just skip to the other part, and you can practice it separately and match your answers with mine. I'll share the Excel file either way, and people who will be watching the video, they can pause here and practice accordingly. Not a problem there.
Yeah.
Sure. Just to save time now, it's already late. Okay, now that we are done with this, quickly moving to few of the theory questions. So we have already discussed composite supply and mixed supply, input tax earlier. Then one of the important portions that Sir had told was compulsory registration. So compulsory registration is required in few of the cases, which is there in the chapter 2, page 5. Those are when the person is making interstate supply. Number one, if you remember one question where we calculated the aggregate turnover where there was this first item itself was interstate supply. There only we discussed the moment you see interstate supply, that means registration is mandatory. You don't even have to calculate the aggregate number. That is because this is one of the categories for compulsory registration. So if the person is making interstate supply, that means registration is compulsory. Similarly, for casual taxable persons, now the casual taxable person is in picture. That could also be one of the questions. What is a casual taxable person? Let me just explain with a small example, which we can remember very quickly. So often when there is a mela or what do you say, expo or something like that, many small dealers are actually invited from different states. They come to the state of the that exhibition and have a small place outlet assigned to them, and they showcase their product there, be it books, be it other arts and crafts, or many other things, in fact sometimes food also. Now in those cases, if you think about it, that person has a business in his own state just for few time, maybe a week, sometimes maybe just for a month. He is invited to some other state, there he does the business. Now what happens is, the moment you are shifting your place of business to a completely different state, by law you will be required to take a whole different registration altogether. Just to prevent that, this is the option that is provided. Instead of taking a full registration, you can take a registration for casual taxable person. You are just casually going to a place just to do business for a few period of time, just maybe month, maybe 3 months, maybe even a week. So what happens when you take the registration as a casual taxable person, there are some relaxation to a lot of procedural stuff. So the number of returns that you have to file, the frequency of returns that you have to file, those are little lesser in comparison to the full registration. So basically, whenever you are applying to be a casual taxable person, registration is automatically mandatory. Obviously, makes sense also, is it not? Any questions, please, on that?
No. That's what. If he doesn't have a permanent place of business, he can take this, right?
Yes, indeed. So the third one is whoever has to pay tax in the reverse charge, they are also compulsorily required to register themselves. So earlier also this reverse charge concept had come when we were discussing, I think that one, I remember, what do you say, composite supply, I think, if I'm not wrong. Sorry, input tax, when we were discussing. Reverse charge came into picture. What is this reverse charge? Let me just revise that concept quickly, just to remember, have an understanding about reverse charge. Oh, there are many cases when the supplier of the service is incapable, or by the transaction itself, it's illogical that that supplier will be providing the GST or will be paying the GST. For example, there is if you remember, the example was very nice example in the class was given for a professor. A professor, when he is coming to the company and giving some lectures, and he is paid some consultancy fee, service provider is the lecturer himself, is the professor himself. Now, for a professor to get a GST registration and pay the GST and submit the returns is a cumbersome task, and the government also understands that if they start doing this, then there will be a lot more people who will be registered under GST, and that can be dealt with through this mechanism of reverse charge. What happens in those cases is, the service receiver in those cases have to pay the tax instead of the service provider. Normally, service provider pays the tax. However, only in case of reverse charge mechanism, service receiver pays the tax. Whenever that comes into picture, service receiver has to get GST registration in spite of their turnover, aggregate turnover. Very easy to relate also and remember also. Yes, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. So then we have non-taxable person, non-resident taxable persons whenever non-resident is coming and providing any service here, and then definitely I mean, we don't even have to look at the aggregate turnover. We simply compulsory registration is required. Then easily things that we can remember is input service distributor. Now, input service distributor, we had a comprehensive discussion in the class. If you remember, there are multiple location of multiple branches of a company, and each branch obviously has a registration uh, by themselves, but they don't want to deal with the all the procedures by themselves. So instead of dealing with GST each branch by branch, they have a centralized billing. So there is one branch, one head office, which is given the responsibility of dealing with GST for all the branches. So the whole billing is done by them only. We have had a comprehensive discussion on this. If you remember, you could be relating also. So in those cases, whatever turnover you have, if you are doing centralized billing, in that case, you will be compulsorily required to register yourself. Now, we have then e-commerce operators. Those are again, in spite of the turnover, you have to register yourself. So electronic commerce operators, and so on. Suppose there is a BPO or KPO outside India, they are also required compulsory to register themselves. So if you can remember few points at least, that would be helpful to write something. Now that we have covered that, let's quickly cover GST returns. As it is again and again told, no, these are actually important. GST returns, we have three returns that sir has told in the class to be important, which we will discuss now. One is GSTR 1, GSTR 3, and GSTR 9. GSTR 1 is what? It is a outward supply return. So whatever outward supply that we do for the goods and services, it has to be kept in the or put up in the GSTR 1, and it has to be submitted by 10th of the next month. 10th of the next month. So it is a monthly return. GSTR 1 only for outward supplies. If you remember, only these three points, only 2 points. GSTR 1 means outward supplies, and what is the due date? 10th of next month. That should be enough. That should be enough. Just write these two things, and that should be enough. Now, GSTR 3. GSTR 3 is what? It is a return for finalization of the details of outward supplies and inward supplies, along with the payment also. The date is 20th of next month. Now, GSTR 3 again is what? Finalization of details of outward supplies and inward supplies. Now, what is this finalization? Why is it done, or what is the exactly meaning of it? What happens is, see, you can apply, so how many ever supplies that you have recorded in your books. But the logic is, suppose you have shown the credits, the inward supplies to be 10 lakhs. Whosoever vendor that you have shown that from this vendor we have purchased this, from this vendor we have purchased this, that vendor also has to show that they have so that particular purchase that you are showing as an outward supply in their GSTR 1. The moment they do that, it is cross verified automatically, and in GSTR 3 automatically it appears. If it does not appear for some reason, you cannot claim it basically. So that is what is called finalization of outward supplies and inward supplies. That is done through GSTR 3. Date is 20th of next month. Any questions, please? Okay, awesome. Finally, GSTR 9, which is an annual return. The date is 31st December of next financial year. So normally the financial year ends in March 31st. So the date is 31st December. So the next one, upcoming 31st December. Now, what is this annual return? This annual return basically has a Earlier, the other returns that we just discussed, those were monthly returns. This annual return will be carrying the same data for all the months, all the 12 months, basically. And it would be having all the outward supplies, inward supplies, the credits that we have utilized, the tax amounts that we have paid, and so on and so forth. The date is 31st December. So if we remember these three, he has told these three to be important, but my suggestion would be just go through the rest. These three you try to remember. My question might be from exactly these three. Okay. Now that we are, as per my understanding, the more important ones, except chapter one, the other chapters, terminologies we have discussed, most important as per me, whatever that is, we have discussed those. Let's quickly move to few of the questions that we have discussed earlier in our discussions before CIA 2. Then we will go to chapter one, few concepts we will discuss, and we will wind up then. The first question that we had practiced, if you remember, the question reads like, Mr. Chandru is a manufacturer of soaps and detergent. He sells 1,000 carton boxes of soaps to a wholesaler at his premises in the same state for 2 lakhs and incurs packaging charges of 10,000. Transportation charges of 5,000 and insurance of 1,000. Calculate the value of the taxable supply and GST payable if the applicable rate if CGST is 9% and SGST 9%. What will be the situation if he supplies the same to the wholesaler of other state? So here, same state once, then other state. First of all, we'll have to calculate the value of taxable supply. So as you remember, the first of all, the 2 lakhs is obviously included. Packaging charges, yes, it will be included. Transportation charges 5,000, yes, it will be included. Insurance charges, yes, it will be included. The final value is 2,16,000. If it is in the same state, then CGST 9%, 19,440, SGST the same amount, 19,440. If different state, just this changes, the 18% of 2,16,000 comes to 30,880. Yes, no questions, right? Very easy one. So yeah, just in case there will be questions from this, I feel like there will be. So better we revise these so that we don't get confused where, will the insurance be added or not added? So once you actually revise, that's very easy to remind yourself also in the examination hall. Okay. And Mr. Naveen, we have already discussed in detail. Quickly moving to this example. Miss Priyanka, a dealer in Maharashtra, agreed to supply 10 laptops to a dealer in Hubli in the month of September 2018 on following terms. So 10 laptops was important, if you remember. So now price for each laptop is provided as 30,000. So for 10, it will be 3 lakhs. Packing charges for transportation of laptop 5,000. Now again, if you notice, this is not saying this is per laptop, which is why you will have to take 5,000 by itself. Yes. Transportation charges of laptop similarly 2,000. You don't have to multiply 10 here also. Commission paid to the agents to fix up agreement for the sale 6,000. Again, you don't have to multiply 10 here. Additional features charges incurred by the seller on request of buyer for each laptop, specifically each laptop is provided. That means you'll have to multiply 10 here. All these costs are includable in the for calculation of cost of supply. So 2,50,000. Okay, one concept was there. My bad. I forgot to mention that. Price of the laptop, it is very specifically saying inclusive of IGST 18%. You remember us having a comprehensive discussion about this. So this one, suppose 200 is the cost price. On that GST is 10%. That means the total price is 220. So if the question says the price of the laptop is 220 and it is inclusive of IGST, then you will have to do a back calculation in order to reach to the cost of the laptop, actual laptop. Is it not? Yes, right?
18 divided by 118.
18.
So 18 divided by 118%. Yeah.
To calculate the cost, it should be 100 divided by 118, right? You calculated the GST. I understood your point. If you do 18 by 118, that will calculate the GST, right? If you want the cost, you have to do 100 by 118. Yes? Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Now that we have understood that concept, we'll have to do the back calculation here also. Similarly, we'll have to multiply 100 and divide 100 plus 18%. Yes, 118. That comes to 25,423 multiply 10. That becomes 2,54,000. Yes, 2,54,237. Now you add all the cost as we have discussed already. Then there is something else is provided. Priyanka Dealer supplied following optional items along with the laptops. 10 pen drives supplied along with the laptop costing 500 each, and the rate of GST is 8%. So this is a case of, can you tell me, is it composite supply or mixed supply?
Sorry?
Is it composite supply or mixed supply?
Which one? The pen drive and keyboard adapters?
Yes, yeah. When we are saying along with the laptop, we have sold so many things. Is it a composite supply or mixed supply?
It's a mixed supply.
Mixed supply only. Yes, because what do you say? Natural bundle is not there. It is actually artificial.
Yeah, natural.
Yes.
Yeah, artificial.
Yes, indeed. So now the difference is what? The rate of tax. We will actually come to that. Let's first of all find out the cost of the total supply. So 10 pen drives, 500 each, that comes to 5,000. We'll be adding that to our cost. 10 keyboards supplied with the laptops costing 300 each, that comes to 3,000. 10 optical
3,000.
mouse, yes, 10 optical mouse with the laptop costing 215 each, so 2,500. Perfect. 5 printers supplied along with the laptop costing 6,000 each, that means 30,000. So please make a note here, 5 into 6,000. By mistake, in a hurry, we will do 10 into 6,000. Don't do that. In the examination hall, we'll have to be very careful about this calculation. Small mistake and the final answer will be wrong. Now, last but not the least, special discount of 2,000 for each laptop given if the advance of 2 lakh is paid with order. If you remember, I had given one clarification about this. Suppose you, Vinay, is a supplier. I am a buyer. Okay. Now I know you personally. You are a friend of mine. You supplied me, suppose 2 lakh worth of goods. What I told you is, what, Vinay, I have some cash money. You do one thing, you give me that value, give me that product. I'll pay you a whole amount, but I'll pay you 10,000 in bank and 1,90,000 in cash. You show in the books that you have given me discount of 1,90,000. So the final amount in the bill is how much? 10,000 only. So that I'll have to pay only on the GST on only 10,000. Do you understand what I said? I mean, did you understand the mechanism in which two people together can actually create a big loophole there? So what does that mean? If somebody is giving unnecessary discount to somebody else, the law very clearly says it will be added back to the cost of the supply. It will be added back. Now, the reason is they don't want to give even the simple facility of loophole to the SSE. Now, what does that mean? Here, special discount of 2,000 for each laptop is provided. Because the discount is given, so 2,000 into 10, that will be added back to the supply, which comes to 20,000.
20,000.
Yes. So now the transaction value becomes 3,37,737. Now, what is the tax rate in which you will actually calculate the GST? Can you tell?
The highest GST percentage product.
Yes. Reason is
the highest GST percentage.
Correct. Yeah. So the laptop was 18%. The pen drive is 8%. Now the keyboard is 12. Optical mouse is 12. Printer is 28. Ultimately, we'll be charging 28% on the whole value, which comes to 94,566. Yes, that is correct. Correct, right? Pretty much clear, that one. Yes, perfect. Now, rest of the questions are almost similar to the questions that we have already discussed. This one we have already done. A similar question we have done to this. Again, similar question we have done to this also. In fact, we have already practiced this question ourselves. Yeah. So now that we are done with most of the questions, let's quickly go to the chapter 1 theory, and I have 2 minutes left. Let me just quickly complete that, and then we'll wind up. Okay, so the two things that I want to discuss in the definitions, only two things in the chapter 1 is definition of goods and definition of services. This was comprehensively discussed in the class. Definition of goods reads, goods means every kind of movable property other than money and securities. Important to remember, other than money and securities, but includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass, and things attached to or forming part of the land, which are agreed to be severed before supply or under a contract to supply. Last few words, if you don't remember, that's fine. Which are agreed to be severed before supply. That is actually that's very typical law language. To remember it, you have to understand it properly. Forget about it. At least try to remember that goods is nothing but a movable property, first of all, other than money and security. So money and security is excluded, but it includes actionable claims, growing crops, grass, and things attached to or forming part of the land. So that much, if you remember, that is fine. So again, goods is nothing but movable property. Exclusions are money and securities. Inclusions are actionable claims, growing crops, grass, and things attached to the land. Things attached to the land. That's all. Coming to services, services means anything other than goods. Anything other than goods, money or securities, but includes activities relating to use of money or its conversion by cash or by any other mode from any form, currency or denomination to another form, currency or denomination for which a separate consideration is charged. Now, this last part, forget about it. Simple thing to remember is services means anything other than goods, money, securities, other than goods, money, securities, but includes activities relating to money, use of money, conversion of cash, and so on and so forth. Anything other than goods is actually service. If the definition is provided, just say anything other than goods, that will be giving you almost 90% of the marks. If you are able to write the rest of it, that's even better. Money, securities, and includes the use of money also. Fair enough. Any questions, please?
No, there is a. That's
great. Then we will wind up.